Hey everybody, it's me, your old pal Mage. That's right, welcome back to the Square to Circle Music channel. Here at the Square to Circle Music channel, we talk about circles and squares, record collecting, music appreciation, all of that fun jazz. Not just jazz, all sorts of things. But anyway, let's talk about what happened the last week. Happy holiday, everybody. Hope you've been having a fantastic summer, enjoying the sunshine, all that fun stuff. I myself, yes, have been spending plenty of time out in the sun with family and friends and romping around in the garden as much as I can when I have time. Work is also demanding during the summer months, doing a lot out there for the company so that I can buy myself some fancy cool records to show all of you guys. So I guess we should just get right to it, shall we? It's, what is it today? Tuesday. I get a 3-day weekend. I normally work all the way up through Saturday, so today's Tuesday and I'm still on my 3-day weekend. So I'm just kind of like chomping at the bit to show you guys all of the neat stuff that I collected throughout the week. At the thrift stores, the junk stores, the bargain bins, even went to a garage sale. All kinds of neat things to show you. I'm excited. So once again, I guess we'll just get right into it. I didn't really find a whole lot in the way of cassettes and or CDs. So I don't know why I said and or. I meant just and. Cassettes and CDs. I didn't find shit for cassettes, guys. No cool tapes to show you, so that's kind of a bummer. But I did find a couple of cool CDs. I didn't go to a lot of thrift stores. And people are catching wind now that music is expensive and certain mediums are becoming more and more expensive. And so people are going back to like this, compact disc thing that we once knew. And all the stuff's kind of getting bought over again. Picked over, bought up. I mean, so I'm not really finding any good cassette tapes. CDs are getting slim pickings these days, but I found this excellent hit by a classic 90s band you guys all remember, Hum, right? Loved Hum, still love Hum. This was, I think, their second album, right? This was like 96. Downward is Heavenward. Really fantastic. If anyone's not familiar, just kind of, kind of classic sound, art rock 90s, kind of, the continuing idea of what was going on in the 80s with like shoegaze and dream pop and stuff, but this was not poppy. It was very edgy, hard rock influence of the 90s, but still really kind of monotone and shoegazy and just really kind of like in a sort of classification with like, emo rock and stuff like that. Anyway, fucking fantastic. This, I think, again, was 1996. Their first one was called So You'd Prefer an Astronaut, right? Isn't that what it was called, guys? I don't know if that was their very first, but anyway, this album is fan-freaking-tastic. So everyone check out Downward is Heavenward by Hum, if you like hard rock of the 90s. Great production, great guitar sound. This is kind of like really enjoyed by electric guitar rock enthusiasts. So yeah, check it out, guys. Classic album. Yeah, I just had to get it because it was only $1, and this was like summertime, 1989. Again, me swimming at my best friend's backyard pool all summer long, and this is what he was into. I mean, I was kind of into it too. Not always been a huge fan of most hip hop, but this is kind of stuff, like I said, from the late 80s era, early 90s era that I can kind of like, I can really kind of dig. I got some Tone Loc in my life again, everybody. What was this album called? Loked After Dark. Yeah. So classic Tone Loc before he was even in Hollywood and shit. Pretty cool. This will be a fun, reminiscent trip through memory land for me. That's kind of it for all the discs and, all that cheap shit these days, except for I found a really cool, I like to show off little bits and pieces of memorabilia and just, cool things I find at junk stores as well, as besides music, but this is still categorized as music. But here's my generation's homage to Woodstock. This is the Woodstock 94 concert series, and I think it was pretty much the entire thing, it looks like. The entire festival all on one VHS cassette. So hopefully it's just like the instrumental acts and no other, horseshit MTV bullshit. You know what I mean? This is like just the musical performances, I'm assuming put out by some sort of association that owns the rights to the name Woodstock. I don't know, but this was the not so bad of the, like I said, the reboot of the classic, hippie era horse shit that my generation lovingly stamped out. And I mean, amazing shit. I remember this. I was a freshman in high school when this happened, and it was just like a huge fucking deal to me. Rollins Band, Blind Melon, Collective Soul, Live, Blues Traveler, Nine Inch Nails, Metallica, Green Day, fuck yeah. Bob Dylan was there. It was magnificent. It wasn't until like about 4 or 5 years later didn't they try to do it again, and the whole thing got fucking ruined, right? There was like a borderline kind of a riot sort of thing. People were like underfed, malnourished, and dehydrated, and there was like a mud circus, and it was just a big fucking horrible shit show, I remember, from the 90s. But that was like end of the 90s. Telling, very telling for that era. All right, guys, that was it for the cheap crap, so let's get into the cool vinyl finds. I know that's what you came here for, right? All right, sorry everyone about the lazy eye, cross-eyed thing. I always forget where the camera is. The camera's on this side, I think. So I'll start addressing you right in your face. Man, guys, I found an insanely cool, giant fucking stack of awesome shit at the secondhand stores, as well as, I don't know if you all know, I've talked about this before, but I also have my awesome super side hustle Sundays. I have side hustle Sundays now where I do maintenance work for my favorite local record store, and so I get to take home a bunch of really awesome brand new shit, as well as some other really great, used stuff. But I'll go through my junk store finds that I got first, and then I'll kind of segue into like the cool shit that I do trade for on the side. So beginning with just some standard ass stuff that everyone's well aware of, and unfortunately you all have, you're privy now to the fact that I'm kind of like a little bit of an imposter, so to speak, when it comes to the VC vinyl community. Like I'm generally anywhere from 10 to 15 years younger than many of you folks in the vinyl community. And so this was a medium that, yes, I enjoyed in my very young childhood. Of course, my parents had tons of, records to pass down to me too, but I'm not one of those like, new douchebag guys, right? I've made a lifetime, of collecting music and appreciating music, and have only kind of like re-emerged into a hobby of vinyl collecting only in like the last 15 years, basically since I got clean and sober, and I've had money to spend on it. So a lot of this kind of stuff is still totally unknown to me, and I didn't grow up on classic blues rock and stuff, so a lot of you old timers are kind of like always throwing stones at me. So this is all new to me, guys, so chill out. Flat as a Pancake by the band Head East. I don't know anything about them, and I know it's popular. I know it's been around. It's just kind of like standard ass blues rock of the 70s, right? Whatever. Found an awesome, clean copy for a very affordable price, and I picked it up. It's incredibly clean. No seam splits, nothing. It's fan-fucking-tastic. So excited about that. Of course, gone through my life always, hearing about this album and knowing it's been on jukebox in every bowling alley and pool hall when I was growing up, all of REO Speedwagon. What's this album called? High Infidelity. Uh-oh. Someone's doing a bad thing over there. Classic song list. Keep on Loving You, of course, yeah, like I said, on every jukebox and every pool hall here in Springfield, Oregon for a solid 15 years for me. So yeah, I'll get to revisit that. Of course, I know a lot about Steve Miller Band, but I've never seen this. Living in the USA. I don't know if it's maybe a live album or something. A Capitol reissue, formerly entitled Sailor. I didn't notice that when I picked this up, but yeah. I noticed it's in fantastic condition. It's super clean, no seam splits. The vinyl is, it's perfect, but very strange. They did the spine cut on the left-hand side. So when you file it, it's filed backwards. If you want the spine to come out on the shelf like most people do, it will be backwards compared to everyone else's records. So yeah, I've just kind of never seen that. I've never seen the spine cut sleeve on the left hand side. Pretty neat. So I'm excited to listen to this too. Again, some more dipshit dad rock that I don't know a lot about, so I'm going to get familiarized with it and maybe talk less shit. Who knows? The band Bad Company. Yes, straight shooter, of course. I've seen this around forever, but now I just can't deny this stuff in my life. I need to get familiarized with it so I can talk to people about it and You know, again, songs that I'm sure I will recognize from a a youth, a childhood growing up in small town rural Oregon that is just basically a meth head community and logger death community. It's where meth heads go and where loggers go to die and retire. So, hooray for Western Oregon. I've had this, oh yeah, okay, I bought this. I've always had it in my collection because it's one of my very favorite best of records ever. Fantastic, you know, that whole era. Like I said, I don't know a ton about, but this was one of my dad's favorite bands, and so I love the shit out of this. Of course, I have this already in my collection, but this one happens to be far cleaner than the one I have right now. So I'll switch the vinyl, keep the vinyl, and then put it in the jacket that I already have. So I'll have like a near mint copy of the best of the Doobie Brothers now. Hooray. Whoa, whoa, China Grove. Great fucking band, great album. Another one that I've seen around for decades, don't know anything about. The band called Rare Earth in concert. It's a double disc, really cool kind of, you know, book bag, flip open top kind of thing. It's a really, really magnificent, clean copy. I love this label, the Rare Earth label, really neat. So yeah, excited to become more familiarized with that. This is definitely more my style. You all know that I love kind of like low-key ambient instrumental piano music. It's my jam. I love this kind of stuff. Douglas Townbridge? What is it? Oh, Trowbridge. Douglas Trowbridge. Don't know how to pronounce it. Sorry, bro. But yeah, typical like 80s, you know, soft piano music. I dig this shit. Songs Unspoken, it's called. On a label I've probably mentioned once or twice, but I'm super unfamiliar with. Meadowlark Records. But, yeah, I love this type of music. It's great morning music for sipping coffee. And some more classical stuff, guys. You know that I'm a huge fan of classical symphonic music. And especially when I see composers that I am super unfamiliar with or never heard of before. And when I find super clean copies of old stuff that's like thick vinyl, immaculately clean. I mean, the vinyl is almost always pristine because people don't give a shit about these records, which is crazy. And the art on the cover, if it's fantastic, I always pick it up because I love enjoying the magnificent art as well as the music. Compositions by Vélis, Milhaud, Honegger, you know, I'm assuming are all three French composers. I don't know about Honegger, but yeah, and pieces that I'm totally unfamiliar with, I've never seen. But this label's really cool. The Vanguard, is it Vanguard? No, yeah, it is. It's Vanguard, but it's like a weird subsidiary called Everyman Classics. But whatever, you know, probably early 60s. Clean as a whistle. Really fucking cool. Love that art. That beautiful sheen that it has. Really cool. Excited about that. Emerix. All right. Okay, some more rock and roll that I'm actually quite familiar with this album, but I never see it. The Gatefold, you know, original US issue, what was this, like 1970? Maybe even earlier. Not positive. But the Abraxas album. Yeah. Love this shit. Classic Santana. Just beautiful. And it's just a really, really magnificent copy. Incredibly clean. Yeah. For thrift store prices, fuck yes. $4. I'll get some love out of that. And again, the classic man himself, the man, the soul man, Stevie Wonder, and his funky, funky soul from like, I'm assuming like 76. What was this album called? Hotter Than July. And it's in fantastic condition. All his lyrics, original insert, dedication to MLK Jr. Really fucking cool. This classic painting of him. Classic Stevie. He's great. This was like my introduction to Stevie Wonder when I was a kid. This is what he looked like in the early 80s when I was just like, I just called to say, yes, Stevie Wonder's great. Even 80s Stevie Wonder's fucking great. Fuck you guys. And some 80s jazz guitar by Pat Metheny, none other than jazz guitar legend Pat Metheny. I love this beautiful, iconic photography on the front, the Turn Left, the Off Ramp album by him. Great album. Great album. Clean as a whistle. ECM label. Nobody collects this stuff. I do. I love it. Come across some fucking Al Green, dude. Hell yes. Clean. I mean, the jacket's pretty. The shelfware is pretty rough. I mean, that's really hard to even like see what it is or who it is, and then you're like, oh sweet, Al Green, that cool fucking neon sign type font. Call me. Yeah, classic Soul Cat Al Green. Really excited about that. Super clean, really cool, that London label. Yeah. And I found so much great stuff this week, guys. That's just like, and maybe because people are just totally, you know, all the Wayward fans, all kind of like the new collector people that are just now jumping on the bandwagon of being vinyl collectors and realizing how fucking expensive it is and how difficult and time consuming it can be to be a real honest collector. You know, they're finally kind of like catching on to this whole thing, like, wow, I'm being ripped off here. This is an expensive hobby, $4 a title. But yeah, for guys and gals like you and me, it's definitely, it's still worth picking up these hits for $4. This is super cool. More classical, guys. I'm gonna bust into some more classical stuff. I hope you don't mind, but I'll be quick about it. I love classical symphonic music, some Handel, really cool cover art. Big, thick, super interesting gatefold. I thought this was like a fucking children's record for a second. I was like, what is this? And it's just a bunch of Handel classics. Victrola, labeled the RCA. Victrola. It's really impressive. I love this color, the artwork. It's fucking cool. So now I have some Handel in my collection. And I also have some Mahler in my collection now, which I'm excited about. Beautiful, stunningly gorgeous artwork, and on that None Such label, again, super thick and heavy, awesome, clean as a whistle vinyl. His Symphony No. 6, performed by the Stockholm Philharmonic Orchestra. Yeah, some Gustav Mahler. Beautiful artwork. Okay, oh yeah, dude, I love Stomu Yamashita. Stomu Yamashita is one of my very favorites. I love this kind of jazz fusion, awesome shit with Steve Winwood. Who else was on it? Michael Shreve in the Go album. Yeah, these guys are fantastic. What a wonderful trio. All kinds of interjections too by lots of other, I think there was a bunch of other guest musicians that popped up on this, but yeah, cool late 70s jazz fusion. Or maybe it was even earlier, like early 80s. I had this in my collection a couple of years ago. Now I honestly can't remember a lot about it, so that's why I bought it. Now I got it again. I can freaking enjoy it. Oh, rad. I didn't even notice that it has the original insert too. Fuck yeah. I didn't even notice it. It's so small. Insert booklet. I've never seen that. So cool. It's something for me to, now I can actually learn about the music that I listen to. Rather than having to like sit on the internet all the time. Fucking sick of the internet all the time, guys. I do a lot of listening, and so I don't spend all my time on YouTubes. Oh, this one's really cool. I just picked it up because the artwork is amazing, and I have never heard what Icelandic traditional folk music sounds like. So I'm gonna dive in, but really fucking cool, like, you know, Polaroid patchwork kind of art there. And then there's the choir right there, singing the old-timey folk songs of Iceland, old Iceland shit. It's called, well, I know it's not pronounced old, but it's spelled O-L-D. It's probably Ald Hradens. I don't know how to speak freaky deaky Danish Viking languages. Oh, but really even cool, it has some English translations and their traditional tongue here, all laid out. The album's called Fartens Tidsalder. Yes, Fartens Tidsalder, the Age of Speed. Yeah, the Epoch der Ale. Very cool. Excited about learning about some Icelandic shit. Guys, now we're getting into the really cool shit. This is like a huge deal. I never see classic Genesis, any classic prog albums in bargain bins, but you know, Genesis Nursery Crime, holy shit. I have this, of course. Cat got to it a little bit there, looks like, but again, this is a situation. The vinyl's cleaner than the one I have right now. This vinyl's immaculate, which I was totally blown away by. And so I'm gonna take this vinyl, slip it in my copy, and this one is just gonna hang around. Maybe I'll put it in a frame, put it on my wall. I like this guy who did this art for Nursery Crime and Foxtrot. It was the same artist, right? Really cool. Classic imagery of like English folklore stories and stuff personified in painting by, I can't remember who the artist is, but fucking cool. Never see classic Genesis. This is what, 1972, right? Never see classic Genesis in bargain bins. So stoked for $4 to put an even cleaner copy up there on the shelf. Some more from that None Such label. I love the None Such label. It's just such quality, thick, delicious sounding vinyl. Everything they were doing just sounds delicious, and I love this fucking art. And it's a Christmas album. Yay! It's a super sick Christmas album that I don't have. I'm a big Christmas time fan and lover, especially of stuff that's like classic Renaissance, Middle Age, kind of cool, Baroque period. You know, you've got, you know, Johann Sebastian Bach, Hammerschmidt, you know, Handel, all the classics here. But yeah, this will be a wonderful piece for my Christmas collection. I have an extensive Christmas collection, guys. And again, some more from that super sick None Such label with amazing, amazing art. Excuse me. This is Baroque art, Baroque period music and trumpet music stuff. Like, I love this shit. Especially great style of, like, you know, choral and Christmas music, and just, I don't know, dude. I really dig this shit, and it just sounds incredible. You fucking crank that shit up to 10 on the Sansui SP3000s. My whole living room just fills up like a cathedral. I fucking love it. It's amazing. Really cool art too. All right, guys, getting into the really, really, really cool shit that I found. Yeah, this was another junk store find. I've never seen this. Here in Western Oregon, one of our biggest radio stations that we have all throughout, even up into the northern Willamette Valley, closer to Portland, you'll still get this radio station. It's pretty popular everywhere, but it's our big rock station. It's been around for, you know, 55 years or whatever. KZL 96.1, KZL Rock. And this was our compilation rock album that they did from like all the cool 70s bands that were Oregon native bands, primarily most of bands from the Willamette Valley here in central Western Oregon. So this is our little, like, you know, station call numbers. KZL 96 presents Oregon's best rock. Ton of shit I've never heard of. Bands called Voyager, Crystal Wind, The Graphics. Yeah, Little Big Band, The Beavers. Yeah, that's our state animal, the beaver. Funny, cool art. Dinosaur guitar, dudes rocking out. So it should be great. This was actually put out and pressed in the 80s, like in the mid 80s. So I'm really excited about this. This will be cool. 96.1. Yes, dude, you never find Deep Purple, like immaculately clean Deep Purple albums in the bins. And I got Stormbringer. This album's fucking sick. The art alone, worth $4. Boom. Done. And this is one other albums I can't like call to memory, which I should be able to. It's like 1973, right? Yeah. Yeah. A perfectly clean copy of Deep Purple's Stormbringer. Now I will really get intimately involved with this rainbow fucking stallion coming out of the sky crashing down on me. It'll be awesome. Again, I don't know what this is or what it's about, but I have never thought I would ever come across a band called The Hot Dogs. This is a group called The Hot Dogs. Album is called Say What You Mean. Again, kind of like early to mid 70s, just, you know, kind of blues funk. This is on Ardent Records, which is like distributed by the Stax record company. So Stax was putting out like tons of like, what was Stax doing primarily? It was like Chicago blues, Delta blues and stuff, like all kinds of stuff. But this is obviously not that. But yeah, some kind of funkier white boy blues kind of stuff. Excited to check it out. Yeah, The Hot Dogs. Clean as a whistle. I don't know if it's an independent. Yeah, I don't know. Ardent. Super cool. Okay, guys, here's the stuff. I was talking again, like, so what I do on Sundays now, not every Sunday, but at least 2 or 3 weekends a month, I do lots of building maintenance and landscape maintenance for a lovely little establishment we have here in Eugene, Oregon. They're called the House of Records. They're my favorite place. Worked out a trade deal with homeboy, who's the kind of like the big the supervisor there. And I walk away with generally like $200 in trade like every week, which is super fucking cool. All for just like a little cleanup here and there and fixing some stuff and fine tuning some bullshit here and there. You know, stuff that pretty much any man can do, any woman can do, but people don't have time for that shit. That's where I enter the scenario. And I'm happy to work for, you know, these fun little tokens of enjoyment that mean so much to me. So now I can beef up parts of my collection that I've never really wanted to throw a lot of personal money at, you know, but now it's kind of like this is fuck around money in a sense, because I'm putting in very little physical effort. And, you know, if you have a little bit of savvy, that goes a long way. So that's what we do, right, as horse traders. So now I'm beefing up, like I said, pieces of my selections that I wouldn't normally throw like the personal money at, like the Beatles. I love the Beatles, guys. Don't freak out. I've just heard it all throughout my whole life. I've had dozens of copies of all their records, but eventually they just kind of like, okay, I don't need this right now. I can sell it at a record show, whatever, no big deal. But now I've got some great ones. So when it comes to those records that are still valuable, but they're just like prevalent, they're still everywhere. Billions and billions of copies of Beatles albums everywhere, all throughout the world. They're not rare by any means, but I like getting the ones that have some personality. I like kind of the more unique ones. I don't remember what was so crazy and unique about this. Obviously not crazy. I like having the inserts still, but yeah, a copy of Sgt. Pepper's. It's just like an orange capital label, which is kind of not rare, of course, but a little more uncommon. I believe it's probably a reissue from sometime in the early 70s. It's probably like a 71 reissue or something like that, but it's in really fantastic shape. You know, one of their greatest works ever. It's got that goofy insert thing, the Sgt. Pepper thing. So yeah, now I have the Beatles in my collection again. I can enjoy it. I put it on for my kids. I get it for my kids. My kids need to hear the Beatles. You know what I mean? It's great music. It's family friendly to a certain degree. It's just not abrasive. It's very, you know, easily enjoyed by everybody. It's great. The Beatles are great for kids. So yeah, and this is my favorite Beatles album. I've talked about that before. Let It Be is my favorite. And this one, like I said, another unique one, because I looked at it and I was like, something's off about that. And as you see how washed out it is. It's unofficial. But even cooler, because I talked to Greg, homeboy, who's the super down there at the House of Records. He knows his shit. He's been in the game for 30 years. So he was telling me, he's like, yeah, dude, tons of employees did that at all these pressing plants in America. They were just taking shit in their off hours and just like pressing shit on their own and taking, you know, armfuls of shit out the door and selling them on the side as bootlegs. And this was probably done by an employee of the record company at the time. So you can see how the front cover's like badly washed out, and it's one of the labels that's an orange brown Apple label. No luster on that label, you know. It's super dull. Cheapo rip-off shit, but it sounds fantastic because it was literally pressed with the cut there at the plant. So pretty cool. But this is my favorite of the Beatles offerings. So stoked to finally have this in my collection again after a couple of years of not having it. Again, one that's been in my collection before. Haven't had it for years. I sold it at a record show probably like 5 or 6 years ago. It's my favorite Miles Davis album. So yeah, get up. Yeah, dude, get up with it. It's my favorite Miles Davis. His homage to Duke Ellington. Very cool. Such a great picture. My daughter saw this and she's like, what the hell is that guy doing? And I was like, my daughter plays trumpet in the middle school band. And I was like, let me tell you something, honey. You want to know who invented the word cool? You want to know who literally reinvented jazz trumpet? This guy. And she was just kind of like enamored for a long while. She looked at this and looked all through, who's Duke, Dad? You know, so we just had this great conversation about the classics. Classic for me here, finally, this kind of like sews up the whole deal. This is like, I don't have an entire collection completely now, but I've got everything from 71 through 77 now by the band Renaissance. This was the last one. And this was actually a junk store find. I found this at the junk store. So yeah, the Novella album, 1977, wasn't it? Yeah, 1977, which was, in my opinion, kind of like the end of an era of a fantastic early and mid 70s all the way through this album. This is still a really fantastic album. Really, you know, epic symphonic sound. In the later years, these guys got really dialed in, honed in their style. Really cool. Yay, this has been on my want list. I have never had a copy of this, and this has been on my want list for years, because recent reissues of it are like still like $45, $50. I'm like, fuck, I just don't, it's not something that I really want that bad that I want to throw 45 bucks at it. You know, like maybe I'll come across a used copy for 18 bucks eventually. You know, it never happens because this album is so desired and such a classic of just funk jazz like mastery. Yeah, Headhunters finally by Herbie Hancock. I finally have a copy, and it's just beautiful. Just beautiful. It was just reissued, I think, actually just even last year. I think this is a 2021 American reissue on that standard classic Columbia Red label. Beautiful, beautiful, heavy, 180 gram wax. This is going to sound fucking amazing. Very excited to have this in my collection. And yes, found a really great used copy for a really fantastic price of this killer Killing Joke album. I've got this whole new thing now. I've not just discovered Killing Joke. I knew of them like in high school. I had a girlfriend in high school who was like kind of gothed out, and she kind of listened to early Killing Joke as well. And I was like, yeah, that's really fucking great, you know? And so I'm getting more familiarized with it now that I need to be, because I got their first self-titled album just a few weeks ago. Fucking love it. It's so amazing. I've never really dove into this, and now I can really dive deep into it. Revelations it's called. Killing Joke's album, Revelations. From like 88, right? Something like that. This was a little bit later in the 80s. I'm not positive about that, so I should just shut up. Oh yeah, and the fucking cool thing about this, finding it used at the House of Records, it's the edition on the blue. Yeah. Blue vinyl. Yay. That's kind of uncommon. That's pretty rare, I think. So, original insert and all. Excellent prize. Really fantastic to find that. Yeah, okay. This one was tough. Sorry guys, gonna get a little bit personal here for a second, but I haven't had this album for 10 years. Because it it drudges up some difficult memories, some difficult times in my past. This was one of the albums I've talked about maybe before on my episodes that was like it was like a breakup album. It wasn't a breakup album. It was just like one of the albums that my ex-wife and I really, really enjoyed when it first came out. And it kind of was like a seminal part of just kind of like us getting together and falling in love. This was part of that soundtrack. So, needless to say, this album's been really hard to listen to ever since then. Ever since we've separated and whatever. We're raising a family together. We're co-parenting. We're doing it. We're friends. Everything rocks. But this album was still really hard to listen to. And I'm going to do it, guys. I'm going to do it. I love it. It's a beautiful, masterful album that should be in my collection forever till the end of time. So I finally have In Rainbows again. What a magnificent album. But again, tough. Like once I get to like track 4, You're All I Need. It's like I can almost like I have to turn it off sometimes. But I'm gonna power through it, and I have a beautiful copy of it on vinyl. One of my very favorite packaging concepts and art designs that they ever did, especially in their later years. I mean, everything they did, for Kid A, Amnesiac, OK Computer, that's like stylistically, that kind of like, I don't know, dystopian computer design, kind of weirdo, abstract somewhat art, and everything on the inside was always just like sketch work, a lot of it by Tom York, stuff like that. They kind of did that for a few years, a few albums, and then finally kind of broke away with Hail to the Thief. And it was just so stark and colorful and beautiful, and I was like, man, that is just fantastic. And they kind of continued that tradition in the art stylings with this album. Just, the rainbow colors and the bright, what is that? It's like a caldera. I think that's just like a, lava explosion from a caldera and amount, but it makes it look like it's in space, and all of the inner sleeve artwork is equally as fucking cool. So masterpiece, just a masterpiece. Nigel Godrich, the 7th Radiohead guy, the 7th member, everything he touches just turns to absolute fucking platinum. God bless Nigel Godrich. I'm happy to have that in my collection finally again. This one too, holy shit, this is not an album that I ignored, but this is an album that just kind of like went so far under my radar, and I never gave it the opportune. I never just took the opportunity to really get into it until most recently. A very, very close, good friend of mine, Charlie Liddon, thank you very much. You posted this like in a group thread that we have with our friends, and put one of these songs on there, and I listened to it intently, and just never realized how fantastic this band was into their later career. This was their 4th album. Their, you know, amazingly awesome, you know, inspirational shit from the 90s for me, I love. It's one of my favorite 90s albums of all time, their album Diary. This is the band Sunny Day Real Estate. And their first one, like I said, Diary, just kind of like changed my, you know, sophomore high school world. And I never really went, I listened to their second album a little bit. That was like the one with the pink cover and similar like artwork. And I listened to Enoch's solo album quite a bit, The Frog King or something like that. Isn't that what it's called? I've had that album before. Jeremy Enoch, the lead singer, songwriter of this band, just fantastic. I love everything about this band, but this album sounds so, the song that you played for me, Charlie, that you put on that thread is just amazing. And this album has a whole similar aesthetic and sound and production value, and it's so just wonderful, sonically rich and pleasing. You just feel like you're being, you know, you have the golden orb of goo just being dropped over your body, and it's just kind of like engulfing you. That's the kind of sound that these guys have, this like, you know, emo rock from the mid 90s up through this is the 2000, I think. Yeah, this was released in 2000. What is it called? The Rising Tide. The Rising Tide by Sunny Day Real Estate. Pacific, I think they're a Pacific Northwest band originally from, but I know their first few albums were put out on Sub Pop, so they kind of got, you know, they kind of got cornered into our Pacific Northwest corner here. Like, you're a grunge band. It's like, no, you're not a fucking grunge band at all. Just as much as like Hum is a grunge band. Like, I hate that fucking label. That's such a terrible descriptor for a style and genre of rock. It's not, guys. It's not. Stop using the term grunge, god damn it. Just because they're a fucking 90s band and they were signed to Sub Pop doesn't mean they're a grunge band. Get fucked. But yeah, these guys are a fantastic rock band. So check them out. Okay, here it is, guys. My awesome one. The piece de la résistance. The creme de la creme. Yeah, I don't need to go on and on about this. I've had so many copies of this. We all have. And it was like, again, like the Beatles albums. They come and go for me. It's stuff that I've heard throughout eternity, all throughout my entire life. So I've just been like bombarded with it and consumed by it. I don't need to have copies of these records. But sometimes one of them kind of floats back into my life, and I catch wafts of it, flowing through my senses, and I'm like, oh yeah, that fucking album's so great. I gotta have a copy of that album again. So I keep my eye out for it to get like a good used copy of it for a reasonable price. I'm not gonna go buy like a $50 copy, a remaster of Houses of the Holy, by Led Zeppelin. But when you come across a fucking Bob Ludwig master copy of it, you buy it for a fantastic price. And it is in better than very good plus condition. It is in excellent condition. All of it, through and through. Original, insert, everything. And it is. I'm not going to try to show you the dead wax and all the stamp and everything, but it is. It's a Bob Ludwig remaster. Not a remaster, a master by him. It sounds fucking incredible. I've never heard this album, the master that Bob Ludwig did. It sounds so much fucking better, guys. All of just everything. It sounds so much heavier. You can hear John Paul Jones so much fucking better. It has so much depth. What's that track? The fourth track. Sorry, guys, I don't have the Led Zeppelin catalog memorized. I think it's track 4, right? Is it Over the Hills and Far Away? Oh no, it's the Rain Song that has that big section in it that's all strings. There's a big string section primarily throughout the entire second half of the song. I believe so. That sounds incredible. So lush, so beautiful. That whole string section and all of the extra instrumentations and auxiliary stuff that's going on in this is just so much more prevalent. It sounds fucking gorgeous. So yes, money well spent. Trade monies. Haha, didn't have to spend cash for this one. So this one's staying in my collection now. Very, very happy about that. Ludwig Master of Houses of the Holy, 1974 by Led Zeppelin. That's all, everybody. That's everything. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight, going through all my thrift store garbage here on Tales from the Thrift. Also, plus some Sunday side hustle madness. Maybe I'll try to do something a little more creative this week. I don't know, guys. I'm just having so much fun with this summer weather and outside playing, so I haven't really been focusing any effort or energy on these YouTube videos and coming up with clever lists of things for you guys. So we'll get back on it on the regular here in the fall time when I have some more time to dedicate. But thanks again for hanging out with me. I'm gonna watch this fucking Woodstock 94 video tonight. It's gonna be great. Peace in the crease. I love you guys. Stay with it. Have a great summer. And I'll see you again around here soon. Here at the Square the Circle Music Channel. I'm your friend Aaron Major signing out from Western Oregon. Peace be with you.